Hey everybody, it's LaShonda King, LDK, or Queen King Slays. So, as a continuation of Transparency Thursday, I was asked to expound a little bit upon my happiness hangover video. And I am excited to do that because really there's so much more that I could have shared, but being my first, set of videos, I didn't know if you all wanted to hear all that. All right, so let's go back to talking about this happiness hangover concept. In the fashion of being in elementary school, I'm gonna keep it simple, y'all. We're gonna go who, what, when, where, why, and how did I get over it, or maybe how you can get over it, or deal with it. I won't say get over it. How you can manage it, cope with it, deal with it. Okay. So the who, it can totally happen to anyone. It can happen to the strongest of people. It can happen to people who are very emotional. It can happen to the most stable people, the most resilient people. It can really happen to anyone. So the who and then what. Okay, so happiness hangover. If you didn't see that video, it's the concept of being somewhere or experiencing something that's supposed to be a happy occasion, a happy event, or otherwise something that's supposed to feel really good, and you have so much of it that it becomes kind of like a hangover. You kind of feel sick from it. You feel sad. You don't feel like your best self. I'm going to kind of take that a little bit deeper and say, just beyond the happiness hangover thing, that we're going to also add in days and times where people assume you should be happy, like the holidays or, different times of the year, different events. And we're going to talk about those. So we got the who, we got the what. Okay, so the when. The when literally is anytime. Sometimes you really never know. I feel like this is really like an earthquake. And the original event that makes you have these feelings is your earthquake, but all these other things are aftershocks. If you know anything about earthquakes, which I do because I'm from California, aftershocks happen anytime they feel like it, and they come in varying intensities. Like sometimes they're strong and sometimes they're weak and you don't even really feel them. Okay, so we got the who, the what, the when. It can happen anytime. Um, where? Yeah, so that can vary. You might feel these feelings coming on while you're in the environment. So you may need to step away to a bathroom. You may need to go to your car, or you might be able to hold it together and it just kind of hits you the next day or later in the week when you're at home or you're out and about. Like it can happen anywhere. You want to make sure that you get yourself to a place that you feel safe to have those emotions and to process and deal with them in the moment. And if you don't have that safe space, then do what you can to kind of control them and kind of maybe hold them back a little bit like a dam, and then deal with them later. But the key word is, even if you're holding back a little bit, deal with them later. Okay, so we got the who, the what, the when, the where, but the why. Why do I feel this way? I'm at this baby shower. Why am I sad? It is Mother's Day. It is Father's Day. It is Christmas. It is Hanukkah. It is somebody's bar mitzvah. Why do I feel this way? The why is really important, y'all. So, these things are often indicative of grief. They're often indicative of trauma, um, and memories that aren't easy. So even if you have healed from those things, you've gone to counseling, you've processed your feelings, you're healed from them, you've moved on from a relationship, you've accepted that someone has passed away or that someone has never been in your life, that doesn't mean that you can't have these unexpected aftershocks of grief or sadness, um, and be affected by them. That's the myth. Like, just because you've healed from something doesn't mean that it still can't come back and hurt you a little bit. It's kind of like arthritis, you know? So, yeah, like, even if moments are happy for everybody else around, they might do something to us. So I know we kind of mostly think of them like bigger things, but like think about if you are at your friend's baby shower And not many people know, but you actually had a miscarriage. That might be hard for you. What if you lost a parent and it's Mother's Day or Father's Day or Grandparents' Day? What if you never had your parents around and it's Christmas? Speaking of Christmas, what if you're gay or bisexual and your family doesn't accept you and it's Christmas and you're seeing everybody else with their family and they're happy? Like, what if you're at a kid's birthday and you lost a child or you lost a sibling? Like, those things are real. That trauma, that pain is real. So don't minimize how you feel because it's a happy occasion. Now, you do have to strike a balance though, because although you have those feelings and you recognize them as valid and important feelings, recognize them as valid and important, but you also have to strike a balance. You don't want to be at somebody's wedding or at someone's birthday party and just bawling out of control. You do have to try and find a balance of what feels safe and authentic to you, but also what feels respectful of the environment that you're in. Again, like if you need to take time and take space, then go ahead and do that. Or if you can kind of manage it until you get to a safer space and do that too. But just allow yourself to feel that way. I'm going to pause for a second, but I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, I'm back. In all transparency, since I'm new to making videos, I don't really know how to edit very well, and I have a roommate. So my roommate just came home. So I paused the video, but now we're back. So we've already talked about the who, the what, the when, the where, the why. So finishing up on the why. Yeah, thinking about trauma, thinking about grief, whether it's fully healed or it's still in process. Thinking about them like earthquakes and aftershocks. So let's talk about the how though. Not how it happens, but like how do you get over it? How do you deal with it? How do you cope? How do you manage? So you'll hear me say this a lot if you keep watching these videos, but give yourself grace. Validate your feelings. Your feelings are true. They are important. They are real. And you should not give yourself a hard time. Like there's going to be plenty of other people in your life who give you a hard time. So like, why do you need to do that to yourself and add to it? So give yourself grace. How I got over mine with the happiness hangover from the wedding weekend is that I just paused. I was like, oh, this is happening. I thought I was going to drive Lyft because sometimes that helps me feel better. So I started driving and I was like, oh, nope, the tears are coming. This is not going to be safe for me to drive passengers. So I made a U-turn and I went in a parking lot. That was a safe place for me and my car, a parking lot. And you know what I did? I cried. I let myself cry. I gave myself some time. And I also thought about it. Like, what is going on? Why are you crying? And once I actually thought about it, then I was like, cool. But then I still was crying. So, okay, what can help me going for now? So in that particular moment, I wrote some notes to myself in my phone. So if you journal or if you have an app in your phone, a notes app or a journal app, write some things down. Write the date and time. Write the triggers. Write what you learned. And then also maybe call somebody. In that particular instance, I did reach out to someone. They actually wrote me in the middle of me crying and said, how are you? And the normal response is fine. And I say, if I'm really honest, I'm not doing the best right now. And that wasn't self-pity. It was just me being honest and also kind of tapping on that person's shoulder to say, hey, are you willing to help me? And they offered to help and listen, and I took them up on their offer. So they shared some time with me, made some space for me to express my feelings and talk about it. And that's what I did. Sometimes you got to give yourself things to do. Sometimes that helps. Another thing I found to be really helpful is to allow myself time to cry and be sad, but also give it boundaries. Like, give it some limits. That sounds weird, but it's very helpful. Actually, like if you're in a full out cry, set a timer. I don't want you to invalidate your tears or make yourself feel like you shouldn't be crying, but set a timer. Give yourself 15 minutes. Let it all out. And then at the end of the timer, you'd be surprised how well you can actually stop crying at the end of the timer. Yeah, research why you feel the way you do. Just know that you're not alone. Know that you're not a hater. Know that you're not weird. Know that it's not just you. Like, it's the real thing. And so I'm happy to dispel the myth and kind of talk about it more. Thank you for asking more, Mo, so that I can expound upon this topic. Follow our IG at Queen King Slays and look for us on YouTube at LDK. Happy Transparency Thursday, the continuation of Happy Hangovers, and we'll see you next week.